But speak. Good boy. Come on, man. We cheated. Okay. Then it's going to already start out to a bad day. My hand's going numb because that shit in my neck. Damn it. Sinus is bad. So just transformer weighs right at 20 pounds, 19.2 ounces. Or 19.4 ounces. Ugh. It keeps getting heavier. It's coming back down. Okay, camera went down. So right at 20 pounds of transformer. It's done bent the bottom of that case there. Now this thing don't weigh nothing. We're going to try to fix this thing up to where it should be. I could have let it go like that, but it wouldn't be right. I mean, hell, it run like that. I can't say that it was wrong, because it's done run like this for God knows how long. Evidently, what gave out was a transistor in it, because it's too, I don't see, he could have, but I don't see him putting 2 red dots and 2 non-red dots. 2 different light numbers. I don't know. He could have. I don't know. I know the drop cord, but like I said the other day that, I don't know how long ago it was, but this is just not big enough for that supply to that transformer. Most of them I got wrote on the cord. Something wrote here. Let me, come on. Yep. 16 gauge, I think. No, 18 gauge. 18 gauge. I don't know if you can see that. $18 gauge. See, up, not low, not big enough to do it. Ah. Messed up. Okay. That ground's right there. It's close to transistors, so that'll be a pretty good ground. I might add bias into this thing. I don't know. Make it a true sideband. Make it a true sideband. I don't see my body hammer. The reason that ain't coming out so easy is because once I'm on rubber and a piece of wood and another piece of wood on top of that, so yeah. See if I can get a piece of metal. I didn't feel that stick on foot. Come on. There's all kinds of screws falling out of this thing. needs to be double thick, or twice as thick as the rest of the cabinet, being it's going to hold that much mass in that little area. You can spread it out. But it's been there. Add a foot to it up underneath that. So when it sets down, just the weight of it over time, I'll push it down. Hell, how big a cap is that? Hell, it don't say. Pretty strong. Hola. Alright, we're back. I think I'm going to do a little something different with this. I just remembered that I had purchased some of these. Do you know what this is? It is a 100 amp rectifier. This is 200 amp, but I think 100 amp of one of these will outdo 60 of them. I've had these to blow. I've not had one of these to blow yet. It's 160 amp. I mean 100 amp. I think it will be fine when this only pulls about 70, driven about 90. But driven, I mean, well, hooking like a striker radio or something other like that into it. So, we can see if we can get these out of here without disturbing anything on there. Hell, I didn't have enough heatsink compound up underneath it anyways. But that's just me. Alright, that's pretty straight. Now that I can look down it, I hope y'all can see down it. This where the transformer was sitting, right in here. Ain't too bad now. It had a little riffle up in here. I guess where it had tweaked. It still has a little bit, but you ain't gonna notice that. Looks like my handle foot here. I'm gonna leave it with the iron coil transformer, I guess. But we gonna do everything we can do to make it where it should run forever if your antenna's right. Got a guy telling me today he's running a antenna tuner on his antenna, and he's having some reflect issues with an amp. Well, for one thing, if your antenna's right, you shouldn't have to run an antenna tuner. Let's get that out of the way. Now, if you run an antenna tuner, if you run multiple bands, I can see running an antenna tuner because you have to go outside the band and stuff. But if you're just in the CB band and you run one antenna, you shouldn't need one. Am I the most qualified person to ask about this? Hell no. I have trouble figuring out my own antenna, but I put a lot of work into it. I did everything I know possible, and as of yet, it's been very good. I've had some little reflect issues every now and again with certain amplifiers. Certain amplifiers, it just does not play well with the reflect back from the antenna, and I had to change jumper length between antenna and amplifier. So from the radio back, no trouble. I had reflect coming back from this antenna here. This is the way this is set up. This goes back to my radio, so that shows anything on this side of this coax here. This is hooked up on that end of the coax, shows anything reflected back to that, actually back to this amplifier. The way this is hooked up, it goes through this line section here, goes back, goes through this amplifier, comes out of this amplifier, goes into this radio right here. Or this one here if I got it hooked up on a switch box, which I don't. But I might take that switch box out of there and make something over here where I can hook these radios up. Or just hook them to this line section. Or, well, I can't really do that because it's hooked up to this amp. This is my driver amp and it stays in line all the time. But when this is plugged up to this, this has nothing to do with this amplifier here. It can be reflect in between this amp and that radio, which I've run a meter on it. It don't say it's any on there. So but I don't keep it in line. But I'm kind of getting off subject, but this is going to my antenna. This one's going to my antenna. Well, this is a reflect for that. And yeah, I have a 50 watt slug now. I've tried a 5 watt. Sometimes, being that this is on antenna, you'll have a little bit. But if you put out 10,000 watts and you got 2 watts of reflect, I don't think that's too bad. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. You running the antenna tuner and your antenna's not tuned out right, that's your first problem to look at. You need to get that situated to start with. But when I done mine, I done it by eliminating one thing from the other. I tuned the coax, so I knew it shouldn't be anything in that. I tuned the antenna with the analyzer to the bottom of the antenna, no coax, no nothing, directly to the bottom of it, tuned it out perfectly, hooked that coax up to it, which was tuned out, come in here and checked it, and everything was good. Now I did have a little bit of reflect. When I hooked, say, 2-pil, it was good. I hooked a 4-pil, it was okay. Hooked the 8-pil, more watts you do, the more you're going to have. And those little tuners, I mean, the little MFJs or whatever analyzers, they only put out a little bit of watts. So you can only tune, for that wattage, let's see, how am I trying to say this? That's just not enough wattage to, especially when you increase with different amplifiers. That's why with a dummy load is a perfect antenna. And it's wide banded. It's over all 40, 50, hell 100 channels. So that's in a perfect world. But every antenna is not going to be in a perfect world. And that's the thing about it. Even some amps need different lengths of jumpers, I guess. Sometimes if I build an amp here on the table and I tune it to what I got up here, it may not be right at your house. I don't know. But I mean, I have a dummy load. I check it with that, and I check it with the antenna, and they both show up right. So if I'd have tuned it to the dummy load and it shows up right, and I tune it to the antenna, it shows up right, it's two forms. Most people just build with a dummy load. So they only have one way of checking it. It'd be like me checking a transistor with just this, and this give me a certain reading, but it'd be wrong. But I test it in a real world amp and it shows right. What you gonna trust? This or the, you know, or the amp? It's putting out power. I don't know. Just my 2 cents. And hell, that ain't even worth that. Well, that thing took a hit back there, because it's dented. And I know it's just tape, but it helped it. Straight now. Was a little cock on it. It popped it back out then. Okay, I'm gonna set the case to the side. Grab the board. Yeah, you can tell Joe built it. Yeah. You know how many of these I've seen like this? I swear. But this is actually not by, because I got a bandsaw. I actually got 3 bandsaws. I got one really nice one built. It's got a wide bandsaw. Look what a bandsaw cut me right there. I got cut there about 5 days ago. It just touched it and it tore it out. But this don't really come from a dull blade, because my blade is not dull. One of them is fluid, got fluid on it. But I've noticed if these build up like the one with fluid on it, where the heat don't build up in the heat sink, it cuts straight. But when you use it on the two that's really good bandsaws too, at least one of them is really good, but it's a dry, it will cut crooked because the heat, by the time it gets down here, I don't know whether they started cutting it like this or cut it like that with the top up, probably the top up. But by the time it gets down here, the heat done got to it and it'll warp it. So the blade will start cutting out like this, because it gets easier to cut through those fins in a way, but then in a way it's not easier. It's not easier to cut through these fins, because each one of these fins will bend over and kind of bind up against the blade. So the blade's sitting in here like this. The blade's sitting in here like this, and that metal kind of binds in there because it's cutting it. And it's still got soft, and that aluminum's soft anyways. It's still got heated, so it kind of rubs up against it real hard and makes it want to cut. I don't know. Explaining something that don't really need to be explained, but that's why it happens. I mean, everybody's got their own opinion, but I've seen it happen. I've worked in God knows all kinds of metal shops, and I worked in a shop that we built split rail fences, or wrought iron fences. It wouldn't be split rail. Split rail's wood. Wrought iron fences. I didn't work there a long time, but it was my second job. That's somewhat clean. Let me go upstairs and clean it some. Put it underneath some real hot water in the sink. Get it clean. You ain't gotta worry about nothing hurting it. The only thing I worry about water getting into with this kind of relay is that cap right there, but I can get that out of there too. We're trying it. Alright, we'll be back.